This is the end of a chapter, but not the end of a story. They say when you close one door, another one opens. I took a leap of faith on a grand adventure, and it really paid off. I've learned a lot while living on the road, but it's time to change things up once again. I'm making this film not only to document my travel from Costa Rica to Canada, but I also want to bring forth some real human issues, like not waiting till the end of your life to get out there and do what you want to do. You never know when it might be too late. And I'm also going to talk about why you can never plan this sort of thing 100%. You need to be prepared for every eventuality. I'm Travis McLeod, and I'm just traveling. A new story begins as another one ends.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, I gotta go. All right?
Okay.
Bye.
Bye, sweetie. Well, that's it. Linsay is on the bus. She's heading for her own trip. And I'm in the truck. I got 7,500 kilometers to do. GPS currently set at 0. Let's go, let's hit the road.
I'm taking on the monumental task of driving back to the west coast of Canada from Costa Rica, and I only have 2 weeks to do it.
My drive is starting from the city of Orotina here in, I suppose you could say, central Costa Rica along the Pacific coast. Currently 3.5 hours to the border of Nicaragua, which will be the first country on this list. Nicaragua is probably the most difficult border crossing in all of Central America. I'm really hoping that it's not as difficult getting in this time as it was last time. Last time they scanned the vehicle, they checked the vehicle extremely thoroughly. The only thing they didn't do is have me take every single possible item out of the truck.
We spent a year and a half in Central America, and driving these roads have become second nature. This main highway is going to take me all the way west to the Nicaragua border of Piñas Blancas.
And you know, I've always just been, honestly, a fan of long road trips. Personally, I find them extremely relaxing. For me, it's a time when I can really think. It's just me and the road, and there's nothing else. Long drives are also a nice opportunity to test out my karaoke skills. 7,500 kilometers, there's going to be some singing, maybe even some dancing. This is just going to be an experience that I don't think I'm ever going to forget.
The smooth roads and loud music make the drive here in Costa Rica go by pretty quick. And I'm jamming out to some of my favorite songs already, and I'll give you 100 points to anyone who can figure out what song I'm singing. When we left Canada the first time, our original plan was to drive the entire Pan American Highway, but only making it halfway, we are completely changing our immediate plans. You need to be prepared for every eventuality, right?
So as it took almost 3 hours to cross the border into Nicaragua the first time, now we're in mid-afternoon. I didn't think it was a good idea to head there now and potentially be delayed that same time again. And then after that, still trying to find a place, potentially driving into the darkness. I didn't want that. So we're just parking near the border at a free spot here and gonna tackle it first thing in the morning, which is what Linsay and I usually do, with a clear head, clear mind, into a border to make it the least stressful. And hopefully the people are still drinking their coffee at the border and are letting us in nice and easily too. So for now, this is it. Quite the view.
Day one and changing plans, but I'm okay with it. Sometimes things are like that for the better.
All right, up first thing in the morning. I don't even think it's 6 o'clock yet. It's nice to see that some other people showed up while I was at this spot. It's a little more secure that way with more people. But yeah, we're about 15-20 minutes away from the Nicaragua border. Gonna start hitting these borders now, and this is where money is gonna start flying out of my wallet like it's free. Yeah, let's get to it. Up with the sun, heading to difficult things with a rested body and mind are important to me to be able to find peace in a tough situation. I just gotta point out one thing. There is an insane line of trucks. We're about 3.5 kilometers from the border, and yeah, there's a line of trucks. So whatever you think your waiting time is at the border, it's nothing compared to what these guys gotta wait. They're probably here all week. All right, first step when you get to the border, you need to clear out of Costa Rica, obviously. I'm not sure of the exact process, but that's the start. Got paperwork, the phone, that's the building, let's go do it. Well, it was all very quick. I really just don't like using cameras around government officials, especially when they're standing around very intimidating with guns and all that. But it was very simple. I just went to the aduana first. All they did was stamp my vehicle information. I left there, and then I went to the immigration office. I paid $10 for an exit fee. And then I walked into a very unfriendly guy at the office, and he stamped my passport, and that was it. Left Costa Rica. Well, I haven't left Costa Rica yet. I'm about to leave, yeah, and enter Nicaragua. The process for all of these countries in Central America are the same. You visit immigration and get your personal information done. Then head to the vehicle section. It gets harder when you don't speak the language or when there are no signs, which is unfortunately common. And what is common is getting fumigation. All right, as I thought, it is the most convoluted border crossing to get into. Whole host of things you need to pay for. Hola. There was $5 for fumigation, $8 for road tax, $13 just to get in. But yeah, now I've finally made it through this hellhole of bureaucracy and not really any sure where to go, but I made it. I'm on the way into Nicaragua. I need to get insurance because they will check for that when you get stopped along the roadway. So let's go do that. Some countries do not require vehicle insurance. Some countries do. Nicaragua is one of those countries that mandates it. It's not much money, but potentially worth the headache. And one final check from some officials, and I'm clear. How much is it for insurance?
$20
20.
for you, because you are a nice guy.
I paid 12 when I came in last time.
Okay, give me the 12.
20 is a lot more than 12.
Listen, you say 12, 12. Okay, for me the tip.
I need to drive to Canada,
okay.
So I need all the money I can
One
get.
more dollar, okay, I'll be okay. Okay.
All right, thank you. God, I really wanted a tip. Here's a tip. Don't ask 20 bucks when it's $12. Officially in Nicaragua. That was a lot of paperwork and a lot of money. Anyway, there's only about one thing I need to do in Nicaragua. Let's get some water and get some gas. So let's get to it. Now that I'm back in Nica, let's hit the open road. Okay, well, my GoPro stopped working. That's how I usually film. So I'm using my phone. I'm gonna get gas here for the first time in Nicaragua. Yeah, the expenses start. And you always want to make sure that your pump is set to 0. We had one time in Guatemala where we think we got scammed, so always make sure it's set to 0 before they start pumping, because they always do it for you too. It's all full serve. A truck full of gas and me full of road trip snacks. Time to continue on. These cities can be very crowded, but often it's the only way through. And from the border, I am driving straight to the other side of Nicaragua, via the most direct route I could find. With only one border crossing under my belt on this trip, I am still full of energy and vigor. Which is good because there are checkpoints everywhere.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Bueno, gracias. Thank you.
An extremely smooth day's drive has brought me to the next border. Now the border crossing, a little bit more money spent, and a warning. Make sure if you have a drone and it's either shipped or stored somewhere and you have other gear with it, make sure you have a receipt for that gear. I didn't have a receipt for this, and I had to wait 2 hours to get a receipt from where I stored it. Yeah, so be prepared. The mandatory final paperwork check is next, which is just as common as the truck jam that you will most certainly have to navigate around. Be sure to keep your eyes peeled at the border crossings. I completely missed the entrance to the Honduran immigration. But I keep going, as I didn't see any signs.
¿Dónde es la entrada para Honduras? ¿Para migración?
Para migración.
Yeah, sí.
The immigration is actually super easy here, despite having the most expensive vehicle permit in all of Central America. Heading to the city of Choluteca, I'm finally in Honduras. Nicaragua doesn't allow you to have drones, so while I traveled further, we stored it here until I came through again.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Bendiciones.
It's been a long time, my little friend.
Oh, jeez.
The most direct route from the border still zigzags across the country of Honduras. But at least the highways are recently paved, so I make amazing time. Each country I am re-entering, I am reminded of all the places Linsay and I visited. The hikes, the cities, all the interesting locals and travelers we met along the way. Tolls are common throughout Central America, so be ready with cash at all times.
Hola. Gracias.
And with the cheapest gas ever I've seen in Central America and some more road trip essentials, I'm not on the road long before I get stopped by some curious local police.
¿Español?
Muy poquito.
¿Hacia dónde va?
Yo soy de Canadá.
¿Lugar de destino?
No, solo en Honduras 2 días. Ahora a la Guatemala.
Guatemala.
Sí, yo necesito retorno a Canadá.
Retorno a Canadá.
Ya, sí, mucho tiempo, pero un año y medio a Canadá to Panama con mi novia, pero mi novia es en Panama ahora. Yeah.
Un placer, que nada muy bien.
Sí.
Tenga buen viaje.
Gracias. My minimal Spanish was able to get me through that
third checkpoint here on the edge of Honduras. There's a lot of police. Yeah, it's been okay. They're just curious what am I doing. All finding it very interesting that I'm driving back to Canada. I'm always saying it's a lot of time, a lot of distance. Yeah, because it is. Another hour to the border of Honduras and Guatemala. Hopefully I can get in. There is this thing about 90 days. You have to be out of Guatemala before you can return in Guatemala with a car. I'm about 2 days away from that 90 days being up. So let's see if they don't notice I was in last time or what. Fingers crossed. You know you're getting near our border when there's a line of semi-trucks. Hola, señor. Buenas.
The key is to stay calm and friendly when stopped by border guards. The other key is to stay vigilant for signs as I continue to get lost.
So, not one border crossing I've ever been to has it clearly laid out as to where they need you to go or what they want you to do. I mean, obviously you need to go to immigration first and then an aduana, but there's no signs ever, so good luck. I'm gonna go walk around and look for where I need to go. Okay, that took a couple hours somehow. It was actually pretty chill here. The immigration offices were next to each other, so you walked into one and the exit was right there, and then the entrance was right there too. And then you got to move over to the aduana, and both the exit Honduras, entry into Guatemala were right next to each other. It just took some extra time for Guatemala to let me in. I don't know why, because it was super easy coming in the first time. But anyway, I'm in. And to let me know that I'm in, I got a little sticker. You always get a sticker. You always get a sticker when you enter Guatemala for whatever reason. Yeah, let's go.
I'm always prepared for the border to be a few hours. Sometimes they go smoothly, sometimes they will take their time. But as long as there is nothing wrong with your information, they will let you in. Just be sure that you have the energy in yourself to do it.
Been pushing pretty hard. I'm not in the best spot to sleep tonight. I'm just in the gravel parking lot in a gas station. I'm gonna have good service though. You can see that. Perfect service. Anyway, yeah, averaging 300 kilometers a day here, Central America, Costa Rica, now in Rio Dulce, Guatemala. But yeah, we're gonna pop up, eat some food, watch some TV, and go to bed or something, because more driving tomorrow.
Things are progressing as well as can be expected on my drive from Costa Rica to Canada. No major delays or incidents. Currently, day 4 and 3 border crossings later, I am in the southeast of Guatemala in the city of Rio Dulce, and I need to cross the entire country to the northwest to the border of Mexico.
It's nice to be back in Guatemala. Me and Linsay, we really enjoyed our time in this beautiful country, known for its volcanoes and crater lakes, and also the roads. And not in a positive light. The roads are pretty bad here. Another reason why it takes a lot longer to get through Guatemala than you're planning on. So we developed a rule whenever we were traveling here last time. For any time that you have set on Google Maps, add an hour. What the hell is going on with this bridge? Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. Roads are bad. And this is why you need to add an hour to every single drive. Because not only are the roads like not great quality here, they're also very hilly and mountainous, and there are transport trucks that go up at 2 miles an hour. So yeah, add an hour. Okay, the roads are not all that bad, and many of the highways you can start making some good time if there are no accidents or lines of trucks. Just a quick update. I'm here in Flores, in northern Guatemala, state of Petén. I noticed that like 3 out of 4 of my tires are wearing kind of improper, so I gotta rotate all of the tires. I don't know if you can tell, but this one is kind of fornicated up. This one's okay, but like 3 out of 4 tires need to get rotated, so better do that before it gets worse. It definitely helps to be able to do any of the small to medium sized maintenance things on your own when traveling. And sure, there are mechanics and shops everywhere, but if long-term international travel is your thing, I highly recommend getting to know your vehicle and the tools that it needs. And after another gas stop, I'm getting close to the border after a massive day of driving. So I just changed some money. I got money back in Flores because you got to pay for your... I can't remember. Yeah, I got money back in Flores because you got to pay for your tourist card to enter Mexico. Probably can't pay it with a card. Yeah. So here we are, waiting. Arriving literally before the border gates are open, I make my way into the tiny border station as they open, hoping since it's small that it will be easier than the last couple. I was wrong. Of course I went the wrong way. Thank God there's a guard to tell me where to go. Apparently I don't go where it says aduana, and I'm supposed to park along the main road. And again, it's a long wait, but I eventually make it in. Well, alright. Made it into Mexico. And the last final difficulty. First issue, the paperwork for entering Guatemala was incorrect, so I had to wait at the border for a couple hours. So make sure you double check, unlike myself, who didn't double check properly, that all your paperwork's in order. Yeah, so that was fun. Had to wait about 2 hours. The guard just kind of gave up and said, okay, you can go. I mean, it was a mistake, but I think he did offer a bribe too. I'm not entirely sure. You said you can pay a fine for $200, and I absolutely said no to that. Interesting to note, I only mentioned that I'm traveling through, so like transit between countries. They asked how many days, I said 6 or 7, so they gave me 7 days, but I didn't need to pay for, let me close the windows. I didn't need to pay for my tourist card, which usually costs around 700 pesos, I think. So that's money saved. I'm not spending time visiting stuff anyway. It's just literally highway, get the F out of H, you know? You do need to pay a pretty hefty entry fee, temporarily. It's like to make sure you don't leave your vehicle here. For anything newer than 2007, vehicle-wise, you have to pay $400 US, but you get back at the other end when you exit Mexico. Well, you should anyway, if you do it properly. Anyway, I got about 1,800 kilometers of Mexico to do before I'm in the US. That's about 300 kilometers a day for the 7 days I have. I should be out way before that. The roads should be pretty clear and smooth. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Let's get out of here. Let's go. From the tiny border of El Sabo, I'm heading to the border of Texas at Matamoros, and at almost 2,000 kilometers, it's not a small drive in and of itself. I'm used to seeing armed military everywhere, but always a little unsure how they will react. But it's always been fine. It's been 6 days since I left Costa Rica, and I'm realizing it takes a long time to get through Central America, even when your only goal is driving through. Speaking of tolls, there's already a toll. I'm sticking to the toll roads between Guatemala and the US, and you guessed it, there are tolls, and there are a lot of them. I ended up spending between $4 to $17 for each toll, and in the end, I think I spent around $100. The trade-off is you get extremely well-paved, smooth roads which you make maximum time on. If you weren't taking these roads, it could potentially cost you an extra couple days. And each day I found myself driving into the setting Mexican sun, and it felt great to finally get some distance on my giant drive. However, I'm still not even halfway through this massive endeavor. Alright, it's been 4 days of driving. I'm finally entering the northeastern section of Mexico. It's not really known for its safety, but I've stayed on the toll roads for as much as I can. There's no more toll roads now. But now it's just wide open spaces. It's crazy. The roads are a little not so great. The truck's handling it just fine, even with a camper. A couple more hours, be at the border. Missing the smooth toll roads, but excited to be back in the United States. I'm closing in on the city and border of Matamoros. Finally made it into the US. I'd say a week of driving from Costa Rica to the border in Texas. It's been a year and a half since I've been in a western country like this, driving around. It's a welcome change. My own language, foods and places I'm used to, so this is actually quite exciting. But this trip itself is a hell of a trip, and I'm only about halfway done. I've still got thousands of kilometers to cover from Texas all the way up to British Columbia, northern BC even. So I got about 600 miles to cover in Texas on the Interstate 10 heading west, and then yeah, state after state until we get back to Canada. Let's go. My plan is to get from the border city to the city of San Antonio. And from there, I can jump on the Interstate 10, which will take me all the way to California with a stop in Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, I was born just west of the river, Mississippi mud running in my veins. And on the road is where I found freedom. And hotel rooms is where I found peace. I spent my whole life running my world. It's gonna be.
So I'm finally off Interstate 10 for the first time in like 3 or 4 days and 2,000 kilometers. Heading towards Phoenix right now. That's the next stop. I won't make it there tonight. Well, I could make it there tonight. But I need to go to a store in the morning to pick up some parts. The only reason I'm going there is to get some parts. The difference now in the US is that the camp spots off the highway are a little nicer, and the temperature is much cooler. How about that for a day? 700 kilometers? Man. This is gonna be home. The American Southwest. Currently Arizona, maybe an hour or so out of Phoenix. Is there a more beautiful place to be? Oh man. And BLM land, if it's government or state run, you can just park wherever you want. You get this beautiful area, mountains in the background, the red rock of Arizona and the Southwest. I've always just been a super big fan of the American Southwest. I don't know, I just can't get over it. I can't keep talking about it. I can't stop talking about it. Okay, let's pick a perfect spot and set up for the night. Well, I made it to California. I'm on Highway 395 going north. This is the last little stretch between California and Vancouver Island. I'm kind of regretting my decision, as I'm definitely taking the extremely long way back to Canada, but I love the American Southwest. I've said it before and I'll say it again. And I know there's a lot of really cool stuff to see on this way up. This isn't supposed to be a sightseeing tour, but why not have a little fun with it? So let's get into the fun. I'll be driving along the 395 for the next couple days, taking in the beautiful Californian scenery. BLM land offers great spots to stay overnight just off the highway, and I'm just outside of Los Angeles. I will be driving north into Oregon via this small farming community. I get up with the sun every day and hit the road before it gets too high. Even driving all day, every day, I mustn't sleep in too much, or I fear not making my goal of 2 weeks from Costa Rica to Canada. On this specific drive, I am in awe at the constant changing scenery. And I don't know about you, but my butt gets pretty sore after sitting for such a long time, so maybe I should walk some more. Just a quick leg break here at Mono Lake. Haven't done much sightseeing at all on this trip from Costa Rica to Canada, because the main objective is just to get to Canada as fast as possible. But this road, the 395 here in the Eastern Sierras, has always been a goal of mine to do. And I've had a lot of points of interest to see along this way. And I thought, what the heck, I'm already here, let's check it out. It's super beautiful here. It's also pretty cold. As you can see, I've actually put pants on for the first time in like a year and a half. Up over 2,500 meters almost. Yeah, let's go check out some weird rocks. Weird but beautiful. Still awkwardly moving north towards my destination, with military gunships on patrol. The rolling hills of Highway 395 constantly change in unison with my dropping elevation. And while I'm still on track, I need to be off 395 as I need to start heading west. I think that lake's missing some water. I'll show you some behind the scenes stuff. Here at my campsite for the night, just the parking spot, basically just off the road. The main highway's not very busy. Starlink set up right over there. This is the inside. Right now we got rice going, we got some veggies chopped, we got some cheese, some black beans, making some wraps, some like burrito things. It's pretty common, pretty cheap and easy meal to make, and tastes pretty darn good. But it was a long day and I'm pretty hungry. That was a lot of driving. See you in a bit.
wild campsites are everywhere here in the USA, and I'm happy that they exist so I can save a little bit of cash. Many of the roads here I'm driving in rural Northern California are so empty. I don't see other cars unless I'm in a town. The terrain is starting to get close to what I grew up with, and I'm remembering half of the reason that I'm excited to be heading back to Canada. Every day a little closer, but now I'm in Oregon, and I have a few planned stops here in this new state. I actually can't get over how much snow is here. I know it's not that late into the year, it's still only April. Holy crap, there's like potentially 2 meters of snow in some of the places here. It's insane. I'm heading to Crater Lake in Central Oregon. It's something that's been on my map for a while. Want to go check it out. Apparently only the south entrance is open, which is where I am now, so I'm gonna have to go into the lake and then come back out and go a different way. So that's a little unfortunate, but apparently there's a reason. There's a lot of snow. Isn't that beautiful? A bucket list item off my list, and luckily on the way. I'm making my slow way through the snowy mountain corridor for the beach. Still in Oregon, I had to visit this massive recreational beach that extends for what seems like forever.
Oh, it's so much fun. Haven't done this since Costa Rica.
In the northwest of Oregon, you'll find this not so hidden beach that covers at least 10 kilometers of drivable recreational sand. Luckily, I caught it with the tide out, as there is a point of interest at the northern tip. The skeletal remains of a beach ship, the Peter Iredale. Whew. Come on, girl. Ooh. Not gonna lie, that was very exciting. Need a four-wheel drive though. It was kind of sketchy in some of the soft sand, so we made it back to concrete, so back to two-wheel drive. So from Crater Lake near California, I traveled through the mountainous Oregon forest to reach the beach, where I now make my last crossing into the last state on this trip by way of the magnificent Coastal Highway 101. The crossing into Washington State is certainly the most dramatic as I cross over the giant Astoria-Mengler Bridge. And I'm feeling extremely close to home, both literally and mentally, as I'm driving through the Pacific Northwest coastal rainforest, looking for a campsite. Yep, I think that's home. Well, this is the final spot I will be spending on this trip and in the USA. Tomorrow I cross over into Canada via the ferry from Port Angeles to Victoria.
Now, I'm gonna chill because holy crap, that was a lot of driving. Every day, especially here in the US, there have been some 1,000-kilometer days. And I think I deserve a break. That's what I'm looking forward to once I get back on the island. So. We aren't done yet. North America is huge. Distances are vast. Borders slow you down. Even on a trip where sightseeing isn't your goal, there are still many sights to see. To date, my favorite thing has been the changing landscape. Crazy to think how all this started. So many things have happened. Never did I think this trip would end like this. Up with the sun to catch the first ferry out of Port Angeles, and luckily my camp spot was right next to the border. It's surprisingly busy for first thing, but this is the last step on this grand adventure that sprung up at the last-minute decision. Well, this is the end of the trip, basically. This is technically the 6th border crossing on my 8,000-kilometer trip from Costa Rica all the way to Canada. And if you're still watching at this point, I'd really like to extend my appreciation and your dedication to my little adventure here. Yeah, 8,000 kilometers, 6 countries, probably a couple $1,000s in gas. It's not bad. And this trip wasn't really dedicated for sightseeing. It was just travel to get back home and to help me and everyone else understand that you can't always expect everything to go over. This is only the start of a new beginning, and I'm super excited. And I want to thank you again for being here with me. With a short ride over open water, I'm back in Canada with only slight hassle from the border guards. What traveling has taught me is that you need to accept the things that you cannot change. Some events are out of your control. I didn't expect to be back in Canada at this point, or like this. We were supposed to be in South America by now. But that's for another day. Today is a new chapter in the book of life, one that I am happy happened. Today I am at peace with my decisions. Today I can finally rest. Today I can look back and be proud. Today I am with family, the one thing that might be better than anything else in this mighty world.